Okay guys, so today I'm going to go over an important video, my favorite video that I've made so far. And today we're going to talk about having your own business versus having your own job. This is relevant to anybody, so here's my thoughts and maybe you'll find out what you want to do with your life. So here's my backstory. I've had several jobs in the past, but there are three important ones that led me to the route of business. And we'll start with the very left. So the very left job is a bank teller position at First Bank, which is where I worked before. And what I learned there was, you learn about getting people's trust because you're working with their money. You're making deposits, you're making wire transfers. And the thing I took away from that job is be professional. Talk right, present yourself right, and smell good. All the things that come with the tire have to match how you speak. So even if somebody is upset, you have to handle the situation as a true professional and not cost the bank a bad look. Because if you go to a bank and you complain, you're not going to expect the bank teller to snap back at you compared to like a McDonald's employee. So at the bank, I learned how to stay calm and collective, but most importantly, the trust of people, that I would manage it well and, maximize their customer satisfaction at the bank. That was the priority. The second job is Lowe's Retail Associate. This was in 2019. This was my first job ever, and it was for a summer, but I learned a lot about what I want in my own life. I was working, guys, for about $12.04 at the time, 2019. Slave wage in today's economy, slave wage back then, in my opinion. But I learned how to enjoy a job, but I also learned working with older people who were established in life, and that gave me the perspective of wanting to do business. Because in this department that I was, there was an electrical guy who made so much money. He worked for the government. He lived life, right? He had wives, ex-wives. I'm like, dang, this guy's lived his whole life. There was a guy who was 23 who was moving across the country and lived with his girlfriend. I'm like, wow, 23 and he's already making those moves. To me, at this age, I'm 24 now. I'm just like, dang, that guy was really moving at that time. Moving with his life really good. And then there's another guy named Rick who was retired, but he worked different odd jobs. But the thing I'm trying to get at here is those guys showed me that you have to take risks in life. All those guys were from different walks of life, and they shared stuff with me that I didn't know existed. And I learned from their behaviors what I did not want to do when I was their age and things I wanted to do by their age. And that whole thing was entrepreneurship. A lot of those guys had so much experience, but it's because they went out of their own way. And Lowe's was just, a quick pit stop, a transition point, or a side hobby. It wasn't their career. That's what I took. That's the main point. Lowe's was not the career for these guys. It was just a temporary stop to learn some skills or chill for a moment before they move on to the next big thing. And that was important to me. And then the job on the very right was Breeze Through Car Wash. That was my most recent job, official job, where I got paid by a business, every 2 weeks. And I would sell memberships there. And in this job, it really helped with my business because I learned how to improve my communication skills with the customers, with people in general, because you want to make people feel good. You want to make sure that they have full trust in you. But the ultimate goal about a service-based business is make people's mental energy not be occupied with the problem that they hired you to solve. So for example, my business is a lawn care and landscape business, right? I've gotten text messages this past year, I might put them on the screen, where the two ladies and more, they were telling me, thank you for helping me this summer. I know it's just a lawn, but you have, made my life so much easier because I've taken something off their plate. And that's what this job taught me about Breeze Through Car Wash taught me that skill. It gave me that concept in my mind. I want to make people's lives easier. I want to help them with solutions that they don't have. And I want to just help people make money or maximize their time. That's what I learned from that job. And all these three jobs were service-based businesses, or helped me make a service-based business, but they were all business related. It wasn't some other job. So next point, Truths and myths about business. Okay, so number one, being a boss is easier than employee for someone else. Guys, this is false. When you are a new business owner, it is not necessarily stressful, but your mind is occupied in so many different areas, especially if you don't have a mentor, right? At the start, I had one mentor, but he taught me the concept of the business, but actually doing the business, I had to learn that all by myself. And then that with the help of my dad, learning the some skills of doing landscaping and lawn care, that made it easier. But the business operations, taxes, customer relationships, marketing, bids, emailing, everything, all those things that you don't think about in business, you are responsible for so many different roles that it can be overwhelming. So you have to embrace this huge load on your shoulders in order to succeed. And being an employee for somebody else, even if you're not making as much money, all you have to do is learn what they're training you, and that's it. You don't got to worry about the taxes. You don't have to worry about the back end of the business. You just clock in and clock out. As a business owner, that's not true. Business is always on my mind, and any other business owner is going to tell you the same thing. You might be done with the actual work during the day, whether that be emailing or being in the field doing lawns, landscaping, whatever it is that day. But when you're done, you're always thinking in the back of your mind, maybe I can have done this better. Maybe I want to change this strategy. It's hard to separate them, but it becomes part of your life where you're thinking about business and how to maximize it 24/7. That's me, and that's what I hear from other guys doing the same thing. Number two, you always make more income as the boss. This is true, but not always the case. And let me tell you why. So yes, I will take a bigger part of the job in like the revenue. I will always take more than my employees. But there are cases where I will purposely take a loss in order for the long-term gains. Here's two examples. So my most recent big job, it was a tree job. I don't know how to trim giant trees, and I wasn't going to risk my reputation and do a garbage job and, underbid it or waste my time and ruin a relationship. So what I did was hired somebody else, a subcontractor, somebody I met through relations, and they did the job for me for a certain price. And I placed a safe bid where I made enough money where I was comfortable with, but if I was experienced, I could have made a lot more money. But in that job, the grand total was, let's say 5,000 was the bid, right? I took less than what the subcontractor made. So the subcontractor earned a bigger share of that 5,000 than I did. But that's only because I wanted to take a leap of faith and make sure I got this relation right. I didn't know how to do the tree job. I didn't know anything. All I knew was how to get the job and find the person who knew how to do it, who knows how to do it. But in the future, I won't make that same mistake again. So I'll make more money the next time I need a tree job. But in that case, I had to take a short loss to learn. And once I learned, I will maximize in the future because I'm not afraid of that risk anymore. And then there's cases where you want to guarantee customer satisfaction. Let's say a job takes you 3 hours versus 1, right? Then your hourly rate is going to go down, but you want to make sure you get a great experience for the customer and they leave you a great review on your business. And potentially that customer leads to 5 new customers, which is true. That always happens. So you might lose time and you might not make as much money that day, but you learn from that experience and you don't make that same mistake again. And then another case is where you might need extra help because this job is too much for you. Sometimes you just might pay somebody else to finish the job or take over like an employee, and you just focus on getting the next job or getting the next customer satisfied. And your margins on that job where you need help are thin or even negative, but you make it up by placing yourself in a different position to make more money and paying somebody else to do what you couldn't. Okay, so that's the few examples. And then number 3, you must spend money to make money. Guys, get this through your head. This is the most absolute truth. And I'm going to give you examples on how I leveled up my business. So I went from making this a side hobby to making over $10,000 a month, sometimes like $17,000, $15,000 a month in the busy season by taking risks. So my first risk, guys, was buying a trailer, right? I think my dad bought it for me, but I repaid him throughout the long term. But I bought machines, I bought the blowers, the weed whackers, and all that. And that investment, I was in the negatives. I earned it back by working on one customer, guys. And then throughout the summer, I gained enough money to reinvest in the business. So the next year, I was doing customers again, right? 10 lawns a week or whatever. But I was capped out because I didn't have the vehicle, the equipment, or the manpower, all these little things to take it to the next level. So what I then did was buy a bigger push mower, a Toro Time Master, which got the job done like twice as fast, guys. And I was able to do more lawns. But then the next big obstacle came where my reputation grew and I got new clients, a different market where they wanted an acre mode or a cleanup done. I didn't have the stuff to do a cleanup and be profitable. I wasn't going to rake a whole quarter acre of leaves and charge $120 or whatever I was charging at that time, right? I'm like, I would just be wasting my time or barely making any money. I might as well work a normal job, right? And not have all this stress. So what I did was I bought a riding mower off of my own customer just by communicating what I wanted one day. And he's like, buy mine. And I'm like, all right, here's your $800, boom. But within those 2 weeks, I made that 800 back and more. And I'm like, wow, if I hadn't made that move, if I hadn't given those $800 back or given him $800, I wouldn't have gained all these new customers and all this new experience. And I was like, dang, I got to do, when this happens again, when I have this obstacle again, I'm gonna take the risk. And that happened again, guys. I didn't have enough space in a trailer that my dad owned. So I was like, I need a new trailer for these new machines that I need. So I bought a new trailer and I bought the biggest investment for my business so far is 2 brand new 2023 machines. They were new at the time. And I was able to make so much money. I literally went I took a $23,000 loan. I financed the machines, guys. And that's a $500 payment per month approximately to pay for 2 machines that are just there, right? That's a big payment for a lot of people, $500 a month for just machines. And I'm like, dang. But when I got those machines, that month that I got them, the first month, I was making at least $600 to $1,000 a day because I had the machines to do these other jobs I was rejecting. And I was rejecting those jobs because I didn't have the tools to do it, the tools to do it fast and right. So it's a trade-off, risk, and you might get a big reward, but when you do it right, the risk will pay off. And in all those instances, I reinvested the money I made from the business back into the business. I never splurged it on other stuff because I knew the day would come. If I want to take it to the next level, I have to have money ready to make those decisions, to make those risks. And those risks, I wasn't stressing it. I'm like, I can pay it off easy. But the real risk is, do you want to commit to this risk? Do you want to put your energy into it? And that's what I got to say. You always got to make money. You got to spend the money to make the money. Put the risk out there and do it. And it'll pay off, in my opinion. And 4, you must know everything to take it to the next level. Guys, I always thought I had to know everything to take my business to the next level. And honestly, I still don't know everything, but I'm learning as I go. And what I'm learned so far is meet people that know what you don't know and pay them well to do it for you. And you learn from them. And once you learn enough, you can do it yourself or keep that relationship and give them the task to do the job, and you just find more jobs. So here's an example with the tree guy. I've never worked on trees in my life. Maybe small trees like the new trees that they plant at the houses, right? But not those 50-year-old trees that are like 30 meters high. I'm like, if I cut it wrong, it could fall on the house. If I do this wrong, I could be liable for thousands hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. You know, it's so much risk and it's not worth the price to pay if I don't, it's not good. Too much risk and I don't have the experience. The likelihood of it coming bad or outcome being bad is high. So what do I need to do? If I don't know how to do it, you find somebody who can do it and you figure out the rest. You might not know all the steps on how to do a subcontractor relationship or have a contract, but you have to just throw it out there. You have to just try at least. And if you do a great job, if the people you work with see that you're putting in work, they're gonna teach you, invest in you. They're gonna make sure that you two work together right so this relationship can continue. And that's really what business is, relationships. That tree guy recently asked me to combine our businesses because he sees all the potential in me and how great my business is doing. And he wants to, I can feel a need in his business and he can feel a need in my business. That's what you want when you work with people. They want to be in business with you or even be part of your business. And that can only be done if you give tasks to other people and you take it to the next level. You take it to the next level. You might not know everything, but you just have to find the people who do know and do your best. You might mess up, but you learn and then you won't make that same mistake again. Okay? So here's the pros and cons for a business and a job. So for business, for me, you like to be a problem solver and give solutions to people. If you are that person, business is for you. Secondly, everyone knows this, autonomy of your own schedule. Guys, today I'm not sick, but I have a cough from Thanksgiving, right? And the lady's like, oh, can you do it this day? And I'm like, I'm kind of sick. Let's do it a different day. She's like, oh yeah, no worries. And then boom, I have my whole day free. I can make this video. I can do what I want. It can be a bad thing when you have too much free time. But the thing is, you choose when you have your free time or when you want to take a vacation. That's the thing about having a small business. In my case, with my situation. And then the pros of being a business person is you can adjust your lifestyle through the highs and lows. Guys, if you are not afraid to upgrade your life or even take a step backward or two steps backward, living very frugally, then you can make so many moves and you're not limited to a constraint. Here's what I mean. Let's say you say, oh, I got to have a Jeep Cherokee as a car. I got to have this type of house. I got to live in this certain place at this certain time. I got to work this type of job with this certain pay. You're limiting your income potential just by putting all these different stipulations, all these different needs. As a business person, you got to accept the fact that there's going to be a drier season, a higher season. The business demands of the customer, what their wants are going to change. So that might make you very profitable or not very profitable. And you got to adjust your lifestyle. You might need to move to a different market. You might need to travel to a different city. You might need to wake up earlier or work later or be more fit. You have to change so much when you're doing business, guys. I used to be all about fitness, right? But during the lawn mowing season, guys, I honestly have to put that in the back burner. I maintain my fitness, but I have to make a certain adjustment to my lifestyle. And every year we try to maximize every facet of our life. But the thing you got to take away is you're going to have to adjust to a life that you may not have expected, but it's just part of being a business owner. And you have to adapt and get new skills along the way all the time. Things you wouldn't even have thought of. And then 4, wants to help people make money or use of their time. This is one of the best things about business, guys. The thing I learned about being a business owner is it's not all me. The reason why people stay in business, especially within that same business, is you learn the value of being appreciated by people. And when you get that, when they text you, thank you so much, or they leave a great review, or they tell you, thank you so much, you make our lives easier, we appreciate you, you are our guy, you're everything to us. And that's from rich people to low income people, middle people. When you hear that theme of being appreciated, you want to help people maximize their time. or help them make more money. So here's an example. If I mow somebody's lawn, right, that means they have at least 1 hour of their day every week freed up. At least an hour, because most people are not lawn professionals like me where they can go in and out 10 minutes. Most people have to take an hour at least, right? And they have to plan their days or their weeks around the lawn so it doesn't get overgrown and the city fines them. So when you can take something off of somebody's plate and you free up their time, that allows them to make more money. That allows them to be with the people they love. So if you're all about that and you want to help people do that, you should be in business. Now, here's the thing about a job. So if you're complacent, you don't really have big aspirations in life, then a job is perfect because you can just coast and you can take it easy. It's not a bad thing. It just depends on what your personality is and what your aspirations are. If all you care about is, man, I don't want to be destroyed in my mind. I don't want to be dealing with the negatives, all this BS that's unnecessary. Get a job. It has its own problems, but it's not things that are out of this world. And then number 2, likes their schedule to be assigned by a company. So your schedule, your life is revolves around this job. It's the company really dictates majority of your life. We need you at this place at this time. And honestly, it's not bad if in this aspect, because mental energy, decisions in your mind are limited. Everything in this world is probably, there's a limit to it, most likely. And during a day, every decision that you make takes a little bit of energy. So imagine over the course of somebody's life, they don't have to worry about their schedule for 95% of the year. Someone else decides that. So they can use their mental energy to focus on other aspects of your life. As a business owner, you're always the biggest thing about business is scheduling. You got to do this at this time to make the most money, to meet the most people, to get the most clients, all this stuff. A lot of being a business owner is time management. And the big plus about a job is you don't worry about time management. Maybe you got to worry about your meetings on Microsoft Office. But that's it. You're not scheduling with the tax advisor. You're not scheduling about getting licenses. You're not scheduling bids. You're not doing all this extra stuff. You're just at your job, chilling, and you get in a routine really fast. It becomes second nature. You don't think about time management of when you're going to work, okay? And then the big pro about a job is smaller responsibility, smaller consequences. So if you are somebody who's prone to, messing up and ruining somebody's day, well, you're probably going to get assigned to a lower risk job. And when you mess up, they're going to be like, you know what? No biggie, try again. They'll be more lenient with you. But as you rise up through an organization and eventually are the head of an organization they hired you through or your own, when you mess up, it's big. As a small business owner, your reputation is everything. People will be so lenient with you. They will give you so much money based on what other people have said about you. So, and that all comes from responsibility. The bigger responsibility you bear, the greater the rewards are for your reputation. And it also goes the other way. When you make a bad mistake, one bad review can just leave a foul smell, just a stain. And you have to do so hard to overcome it. And I've dealt with that. My business has over 90 plus 5-star reviews. A lot of people like working with me. But a few miscommunications that were partially my fault, everything that happens to me is on me. So this has my fault in it too. So there was a few customers that were unsatisfied due to misunderstanding of the expectations of the job, etc., and they left a bad review. And I noticed the traffic went down because that review was like a big wall that just killed my momentum. And I'm like, dang, I gotta address this ASAP with this customer and with the general public who views my business online. And man, I will never want to I don't plan on making that same mistake again, but you just can't control how people are. You just You really can't. There was one time where a customer called 4 businesses before me to have a job done, but they were asking the wrong question, and I gave them that correct answer to the question that they were asking, and the consequence was laid upon me. They left me a bad review when I was just trying to help them, and I answered the question that they asked, but that's not the answer that they wanted. They wanted a different answer. They were just asking incorrectly. But it was my fault. I could have declined the call. I could have responded later when they were calm and not mad or frustrated. So you just got to be aware that sometimes it's not really your fault, but it really is most of the time. So when you mess up, you mess up. But at a job, it's not the biggest F up. You can always find another job. You can't always replicate your business somewhere else, because when the reputation is gone, it's gone. So the fourth thing, wants to focus on craft and contribute to organization. So at a job, you will always focus on one task or a few tasks, but it's within your own specialized assignment, right? As a bank teller, I would just focus on making deposits, withdrawals, transferring money, all that. I didn't deal with, giving out loans. I didn't give out mortgages. I didn't do all that stuff that a loan officer would do. But I would imagine that as a bank manager, when you're the head of the business and at that location, you're concerned with how are the loan officers doing? Are the customers liking the loans that they get? Are the bank tellers doing their job and not losing money? Blah, blah, blah. When you're the smaller person in an organization, you're going to receive less burden on your mind and less responsibility. Hold up, I gotta close the door. Okay, where were we? So yeah, wants to focus on craft and contribute to organization. That's the benefit of the job. You go in, you clock out, and that's it. Business, it's not like that. So questions for you. What do you want to be rich? Then if you want to be rich, you got to do business, guys. Yeah, you can become a doctor. You can do all these professions and you get paid real well. And you become rich over a long period of time by investing. But if you want to be absurdly rich or have the best probability of making millions and millions of dollars, well, you have to be the top of the food chain. You have to be the person that takes in most of the wealth. And you do that by creating a business where you solve solutions and you get paid an incredible amount of money to solve those solutions. And the difference between doing that in a job and for your own business or really yourself is the company, the company receives the credit, not necessarily you. But when it's for your own business, you get all the credit because you're the head of the organization. So therefore, the recognition is mostly on you and the compensation is mostly for you. So do a business if you want to be rich. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. And then legacy. Do you want your own legacy? If I do a business and this keeps growing every year, my future kids will have a business to grow up in and take over, or they'll learn all the skills that I'm learning right now and they can accelerate in their own business journey. And they might, in year 3 of their journey, will be the year 11 for me because they will have learned so much from me. They'll be steps ahead. And that's your own legacy. Your business and what you help people with, the solutions that you've given people, that's your legacy. At a job, you're just a piece in somebody else's vision, right? You'll be remembered in there, but will the people outside the organization remember you? Will your kids acknowledge that this organization really took off because of you? We'll never know. But when it's your own business, you can control how that business affects the future generations that come from you. And that's your legacy. Number 3, are you okay with taking instruction from someone? So this is very important. If you do not like being told what to do and you just think you can do it a better way, business is probably for you. Or just someone who has problem with authority. For me, I do have a little bit of problem with authority because I don't want to get canceled here, but my managers at the bank were all women. And I just had, I saw so many things in their life that I did not respect about. And I was thinking to myself, why would I take instructions from them? They know more, but it just feels wrong to be getting orders from them, because I'm like, you're unqualified. They really are qualified, but they're not for in a certain way. And the only times where I didn't have a problem with getting instruction from somebody was somebody who wanted to see me excel and grow within that company or take it to the next level, or someone who was so smart, outclass me in every phase of life, where I'm just like, respect whatever you say, I'm gonna do. So if you're not that type of personality like me, and you just like to listening to someone, you like to be brain dead and just be led to anywhere, you like to just be, hold my hand, Disneyland, let's go, then do a job, not a business, because you need to be aware, you need to be doing the move, not be a beneficiary of the moves. Well, actually, you're gonna benefit from your own moves. But it's like the Disneyland example. Are you gonna be the girlfriend that is clueless and enjoying her own experience, and she benefits that from the leader, the boss, the boyfriend, who's aware and making sure everything's right? Which one are you? Who are you in this relationship? Right? So for me, I like to be the one leading the way. I'm the one giving the instruction, but I don't mind it if it's from somebody who just supersedes me in every phase of life, from my point of view. And then number 4, do you want to be okay in life or more? So okay in life is not your average American. It could actually even be worse. Okay in life means you like getting a paycheck, you like buying your Doritos, you just like having things that are convenient, and you don't aspire for things that require so much hard work. Getting a house requires a lot of hard work. You have to save, and you gotta have a job that pays really well in order to buy a house at a certain age, or you gotta have relationships with people to be a co-signer so you can reach that goal faster. You have to do so much work. When you do a lot of work, you don't have an okay life. You more than likely will have a better or great life. But if you want an okay life, then you don't need to focus on all those things. You just need to do the absolute mediocre average, and you'll get the life that the system is designed for you to have. Work, pay off debt, enjoy the conveniences of food, entertainment, and that's it. You really don't develop what's inside here, but because you're distracted with all the other things that society offers. In this country, it's different in other parts of the world, but in this country, USA, that's an okay life. Consumed by entertainment and, not really focusing on your mind. Number 5, do you embrace the bad as much as the good? So guys, especially for you people that are all about God, all about believing in faith, this, especially for you, but everyone in general, if you want to take as much credit as you want, and you want to enjoy the highs of life, you have to keep that same energy for the lowest of lows. For me, whenever I have a great day, I appreciate it as much. I appreciate it at the same level as a bad day, because a bad day, it's all my fault. And I have to learn. I get to learn from that bad day. And I embrace it. If I'm scared of it, I'm not going to be a good business owner. Because if you can't embrace the work, the things you have to do, the responsibilities you have to take in order to succeed, well, you're cooked. And you have to have the right mindset to take a bad day really well and turn it into a really good day the next, or in that same day, guys. So you have to embrace the bad as much as the good. You can't just forget about one and just acknowledge the other. You can't be all God when it's good and be a non-believer when it's bad. You got to believe through the whole thing, if that makes sense, right? Do you bet on yourself? And are you your greatest asset? So I highlighted these last 2 points because these are the most important. Okay? The yellow is the second most important, but the blue is number 1. are you your greatest asset? Would you bet on yourself to do something? And if you bet on yourself, if you believe you can do something, you can learn a skill, you can get this job, then you are most likely for business. Because if you really trust yourself, I could tell you, hey, start this type of business and I want these results and this time, or can you really do this? And you say to yourself, yes, I can. Then really there's no logical reason for you to avoid business. Because if you know you can do something, then do something that's so hard that you'll get rich from it. And then, boom, you have a really good business, you have really good income. There's no need for getting a normal job when you have the capability of being better than average, if that makes sense, right? So let me list some characteristics. If you take care of yourself, you like to take care of your hair, you like to take care of your skin, your diet, low sugar diet, you like to exercise, you like to focus on every phase of your life, your dating life, your family, your income, your social life, your wardrobe. If you focus on all these things that benefit you and are actively putting in work day in and day out, you might as well be a business owner, because there's not many people who do that. And business is really about relationships. Who would you want to be in a relationship with? Somebody who's just like top of the notch, almost perfect, or somebody who's just eh? Well, when you invest in yourself, you become unique, and people pay for uniqueness. People want to be with uniqueness. Therefore, you are an asset to society. So think about that. If you invest in yourself with education, with skills, with diet, with health, all this stuff, you are your greatest asset. You are your biggest monetary income tool. And that's what I think about myself. I like to work out. I'm trying to shred down, get cut as possible. I'm growing my hair out. I'm learning how to style it. I'm doing a middle split. It's kind of messy right now, but I've never had hair this long and I like it. And I'm just doing all these different things that would make me a greatest asset, that would make me unique and a benefit to society. So think about that. If you believe you can be your greatest asset, not a car, not a house, not a S&P 500, if you are your greatest asset, then be a business owner. Or think about it like this. If you believe you can out-earn the S&P 500 in 10 years, you should be a business owner. All right, can you do both, guys? You didn't expect this. Yes, you can do both. And what I have to say about this is it has to be done out of necessity. Example, police and firefighter. A lot of those guys are hustlers and they have another business. And I believe those guys do it out of necessity because they're always around the most horrible situations. And they're probably around some of the worst people. Inmates, maybe corruption, maybe death. So they need to have a different outlet in life where they, are helping people in a different way. Those guys probably don't get compensated enough for all the garbage that they deal with. So they want to make more money to enjoy their police and firefighter job and make it a side gig. And they can also have a different part of their life where their whole identity isn't into that big crap show, right? And another example I'll use is myself. I worked odd jobs, the jobs I listed, while I was building my business. I used the funds for those jobs to be as an emergency savings in case I needed to, buy food or buy more tools. But those jobs helped me learn the skills that would carry over to my business. And then in order to succeed in business, because you're not going to succeed in business if you can't talk to people or learn how to sell or, satisfy their needs. You have to be confident. You have to know what you're doing for the most part. Not everything, but for the most part, you got to know what you're doing. And you only can do that. You can only get to building a good business and working a job if it's out of necessity. You have to have a purpose, what I'm saying. If you have a purpose for working somebody else and doing your own thing, it has to be for a reason. Maybe you need bills to pay. Maybe you just need to learn a skill in this job for a certain amount of time, and then you can carry it over to your business, right? So you can do both, because if you do both, you're going to get fired from your normal job. You might slack on the quality of your work in your business, If it's for a want, you're gonna slack off and be demotivated and you're gonna give up. So you have to create the need to do both. And I'm actually thinking about this because we'll talk about it on my next slide. So what do I want based on my experience? What I want right now is more business. I love business. It feels good to help people. When they tell you you made their day, you make their life easier, it gives you a sense of purpose, especially when you're in your 20s, you're messing around with different avenues in life. Even now, I feel like I want to do something else. But when people give me the appreciation for doing a great job, it's like I know I'm doing the right thing at this moment. I'm helping somebody with their life. So that's why I love doing more business, because it makes me feel good and I make a lot more money than a regular job for the most part. And a job is great if you want experience in different areas. So if in my case, I want to learn these other skills that involve business, like better marketing, better social skills. I mean soft skills, not social skills, soft skills. All these different skills that you don't even know exist. I can learn that at a job. And once I learn that in a job, I can carry it over to me in my own business. That's what I like about a job. You just focus on learning something and you can take it with you wherever you go. Oh yeah, and let's say you have an established business. You can focus on the important things while you're working a job, and the business is taking care of everything else. So if your business is doing solid, you can get an extra job and focus on enjoying it. You're not worrying about bills because it's extra money. It's the cream on the dessert, right? It's extra. More soft skills and experience with people. Job gives that in a different way than business. So what I want right now is, like I said, more soft skills and experience with people. So when you're a business owner, you're always working business to business or business to customer. Most of the time, these people seek out you, right? So you have the upper hand, especially when you have a great reputation online. And that's for me in my case. These people are already sold on you based on what they've seen. All you're doing is reassuring them of their decision and to see if you fit within their budget. And if not, then that's where the real skills kick in, the selling. And when you actually work for a job, it's the opposite. You're the one that's trying to outreach and convince people that you are the person for them. And that's what I haven't been experiencing much lately, where I am not putting myself in many positions to practice the skill of creating the need of somebody to want me in a business sense. That sounds weird, but it's a different dynamic when you're the underdog or you're trying to make the sell. When you convince somebody you're him or you're that, and they don't know anything about you, it's like the biggest win. And that, when you convince somebody like that, that carries so much more weight, and you can just leverage it in a whole other stratosphere. And that was the case when I started the business. At first, it was me reaching out to people. Now it's people reaching out to me. And I forgot what the feeling was to reach out to people as my primary source of communication and experience with people. I have both, but I gotta balance it out so I don't become one-dimensional. You'll only understand this if you've experienced both, where you're like the bottom and you've been at the top. It's a different social dynamic and a different type of skill set to get people to give you what you want based on who you are at that time. Okay, and above all, what I need right now, what I want is create a new necessity. So right now, I'm looking at buying a house. I can do it, and it's gonna be the new necessity in my life. I just need to really. There's nothing much to think about. It's really like just create a new necessity, and if I create a new necessity, it's gonna push me to the next level because I'm gonna be focusing on survival. And once I dominate survival, it's time to flourish. It's about exceeding. It's about taking it to the next level. Every facet in business is the hardest thing about business really is the need. If there's the need, you're gonna do so well. But if there's no need, you become complacent, you can get bored, you can lose the drive, and it kills the momentum. When there is a need, whatever that need is, sometimes you have to create it. It might be a fake need. If there is a need, you don't have to worry about motivation, you don't have to worry about fear, because when you have no options left, that's when your best comes out. When your back is against the wall, that's it. So here soon, guys, I'll be making a video of the house, whatever house that is, whatever property that is, whether it's a rental, whether it's my new residence, whatever it is. That'll be the new necessity. That'll be a necessity that demands commitment for a long time, at least 30 years, right? 30-year loan. And when you have a new necessity, it just pushes you to the next level. But you also got to be careful, guys. You can't have necessities that make you comfortable too. Because let's say you get married and you have kids. Those are needs, right? Those are new necessities. Those are new drives for you that will take you to work harder. But it'll make you work harder to maintain a certain level of success. It might not necessarily drive you to make risks that could jeopardize the health and wellness of somebody else. You have to make risks. You have to create necessities that are risky, but they won't really hold you back from, going outside your boundaries, right? That's the best way to put it. You know what I mean, guys? Like, you get a family, you become complacent. You might not do things that you might not have done in the past, but there's different types of risk and commitments where they'll just have to take you to the next level, take you to places you've never been to. That's the type of necessity that you need, and that's the one I'm trying to get. That's the one I am gonna get. The investment in the property that'll make me learn so many new skills of being a homeowner to maybe a new residence, or of a new house or an old house. Every experience is different, but when you create that new necessity, that new need, it puts you on overdrive. It'll take you to a level you've never thought. And that applies to business, guys. When you see some success, and you have to put yourself in a position in business where you cannot fail. You have to put yourself in a position, if I fail, I'm done. Like, you're dead. Like, the tiger's gonna eat you. That's what I like to think about. If you give yourself too many ways out, then you're not gonna really have the drive or the instinctual drive to really get it done, because you'll be fine if you don't get it done. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Let me know what your thoughts. What do you want to do? Job, business? I like both for different reasons, but for me, business will always be part of my life. It's been part of my life for 4 years. If I have to go back to working another job, I wouldn't mind it. Supplemental income. But if I ever go to a job again, it's not to make a career out of it. Maybe a part-time career, like every now and then I'll work as a police officer or something. But it's going to be just to gain skills and carry that skill over, whatever it is, to my business at that time, whatever it is. Maybe it's landscaping, maybe it's life coach, maybe it's fitness, who knows? But that's my point of view of it. So take what you will. Thanks for watching.